Hey everyone, my name is Benjamin. I run boltdeals.io, and here I have Julian Chambers, which is one of our clients here at Bolt Deals. And he recently signed up with us, I believe it was 5 weeks ago. And he's a beginner wholesaler, he's a newer wholesaler, and he has two properties under contract, which should net him anywhere from $12,000 to $13,000 in profit. Is that right, Julian?
13,500.
Perfect, man. So the way we want to structure this call, it's our first client interview. I just want to learn a little bit about you, where you learned wholesaling from, and what the results you got from us ultimately are. Does that work for you?
Yep, started 3 years ago in sales for a wholesaling company. Then I got out of that as a salesperson, W-2, got into insurance, have been in that game for over 3 years, Medicare, health insurance, a little bit of life insurance. Recently sold my book of business at the beginning of the year and wanted to scale another business. Always wanted to get into multifamily units and real estate in general. I knew wholesaling was a way to generate some cash flow. So here I am, joined. And you guys are the first company I signed up with to help me with marketing. And dude,
Okay.
it's been amazing so far. So
Absolutely, absolutely. So you were previously in the insurance business. How do you believe that knowledge and expertise that you've acquired from the insurance business has helped you in the real estate business?
I think just, learning about business in general. I've been in personal development just in general since 2015.
Okay.
Lots of failing things that I tried, network marketing, um, advertising company, like stuff that I just didn't work and didn't apply what I knew. And that's a big takeaway for people, by the way. But insurance really taught me about business, about sales, about acquiring a customer, the marketing portion of that, and those types of things. So insurance has been amazing. It's an amazing business to be in. And there's, so much you can learn from, I think, any business. But those are the main
Got it.
things. Yeah.
Gotcha. And you mentioned you really wanted to get into multifamily. Is there a reason you used wholesaling as just a stepping stone to get into it?
Yeah. I think
Or what was
wholesaling
your
is,
logic?
yeah, it's so risk free to generate cash flow. And it's very little cost up front to start generating some revenue for the business. So I think using cash flow or using wholesaling as the entryway to real estate just makes sense. You don't have to have good credit, lots of money. People know the deal with wholesaling. So I think it just makes sense to generate that cash flow up front and then reinvest it into multifamily, or if you want to do single family or flipping, whatever you want to do. There's so many verticals. I just think wholesaling makes sense to get your foot in the door.
Gotcha. So right now you got two contracts in the last 5 weeks. What is the ultimate goal for the real estate investment business? Let's just say 6 to 12 months down the line.
Yeah, I want to scale it to 80K a month. I want to have that financial freedom that, we all want, and be able to travel and, eventually dominate one market. Right now, of course, we're virtual. We've got so many different
Correct.
markets, and you help a lot with that, different states and all the different things. But eventually just own one market and do a couple virtual and just go all in on that market. But 80K a month, if that takes 8 contracts a month at 10K or however many that takes, that's where we see it. So
Absolutely, man. Now, I do want to take a step back. I know we talked about our audience before actually starting the recording of this.
yeah.
There are a lot of people that are trying to get into real estate that are just, they want to get into wholesaling because they found it on TikTok or YouTube or wherever they found it. Do you have any advice for someone that has no business background, has a W-2 job, and just wants to get into real estate, whether that's wholesaling, flipping, creative finance, anything of that sort?
Yeah, a lot. I'd say first off, pick one thing. If you want
Okay.
to do wholesaling, go all in wholesaling. Go all into it in speed. You need to be fast. If you take 10 years to make a decision, you're going to look back after 10 years and regret all the time you wasted.
Okay.
I think learning to make decisions extremely quickly is like the key to, the key to success. It's such a big point to achieve anything. So I'd say pick one thing, go all in, decide, and ask yourself, is it worth it? Sell yourself on it, because at the end of the day, the most important sale you make in life is yourself. So sell yourself on why wholesaling. Why do I want to flip? And what's it going to do for my family? Why is it worth all the work I'm going to put in? And then say, you know what? I'm doing it right now. Go all in and move with
Absolutely.
speed. Make decisions very quickly and just go for it.
Absolutely. And going back to that, going based off what you just said, for some of our audience, they have 9 to 5 jobs. So whether they're a lot of them are GCs, a lot of them, work at a hospital or dentist, whatever, it's typically harder for them to go all in as they still have to have a roof over their head, feed their kids, all that stuff. What would you tell them?
I would say I would listen to their limitations and ask them why they think it's harder. If it's a money problem, you can YouTube so much content on how to spend no money and get deals or spend very
Yeah,
little money. If it's a time issue, we all have the same 24 hours in a day. It's what you do with
exactly.
the hours. If you work 10 hours in a day, dude, you still have other time. It's just what are you making time for? What's a priority to you? If you were really serious about this business, you would work as many hours as it takes. Um,
Exactly.
yeah,
Exactly. And that's what I see so many beginners struggle to do. Like I get on a lot of call with beginners, they have all these excuses, and it's not even excuses to not work with us. It's excuses to just begin and take action. So something for me that worked really well was investing in a coach and a mentor.
yeah.
Um, is
Oh
that
yeah.
something you would agree with? And what was your
I've
experience
spent
with that?
yeah, I spent a lot of money on coaching and mentoring. I've spent about 30 grand this year just in coaching and mentoring. I have a Tony Robbins coach. I paid him 8,600 bucks this year. Been with him for 3 years. We do calls almost every week. It's been fundamental. And one of the reasons why is because it gets you out of your head and gets you into, it's kind of cheesy, gets you into your heart, into what's important to you in your life, and helps you make a decision and take action on whatever it is you want. Because I think a lot of time people are spending too much time up here.
Gotcha. Gotcha.
Yeah.
Yeah, when it comes to investing in a coach, it's really humbling because a lot of beginners feel like they know everything, and then they have the mindset of, if this guy did it himself, I can do it myself and I can figure it out. But a big thing is in paying for someone else's lessons. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? You rather pay someone to get the lessons from them, from their failures, from their mistakes, than go through all that hassle yourself. When it comes to, trying to figure out how to make money or how to succeed in this business venture. Would you
Yeah,
agree with
man.
that?
You spend $10 on a book that somebody spent years writing, and you can learn everything that they know and have learned throughout those years and spend $10 on that book and read it. Like, dude,
Right.
today's information age is like completely different. And one of the biggest things I've learned from coaching is the stories that I have around things and the beliefs that I have and how that affects my ability to take action, follow through, or anything. And I think anytime, like you were talking about the excuses earlier, anytime you
Correct.
talk to somebody, they say, "Oh, I'd like to do this, but," whatever comes after "but" is the story they're telling themselves on why they can't get whatever it is. And
Exactly.
they allow that story to basically like keep them where they are. And it's comfort, it's safety, but outside of that is fear. So they're afraid to go outside and try a new story. So that's one of the biggest things I've learned from coaching, along with the beliefs like, hey, I'm scared to make phone calls today. Okay, well, why are you scared to make phone calls? Well, this and this. And you get down to it, it's a belief you have about calling somebody. What are they going to think?
Yeah.
Whatever it is, or what if I don't succeed? All these underlying beliefs. So coaching is, dude, I mean, coaching is
And then you
like,
realize once you dig deep, like down to the root, it's really not that bad. You'll get no's, you'll
100%.
get rejections. And I wanted to dig deep into that. When you were, before working with us, before leveraging ads, were you doing any type of cold calling, bandit signs, anything like that to get leads in
I,
the door?
I wasn't. And the reason I went with Facebook first, because I know how, first off, I'm familiar with it. Although you guys do everything, I felt comfortable with it just because I've used it a lot with insurance. Um, Even though I'm leveraging everything you guys are doing, and you guys are doing really, all the work, the follow up, the Facebook ads, the marketing, all that stuff, which is a blessing. Um, I think Facebook for me makes more sense because I want motivated people coming to me that want to sell their property. And it just made sense to me, honestly. I think, I think every marketing channel works. I think they all work. So do all of them. And right now I'm, venturing out with like texting and cold calling at this moment, but Facebook's been the main thing. I think they're all important. I'm not downgrading. I think you should do all of them. I just think, pay per click, Facebook, I want people that are looking for me to come to me first. And then when I have the cash flow to play with and all those things, I can go out and, really try to hustle and get people to want to sell their house to me instead of them just coming to me. If that makes any sense.
Absolutely, absolutely. And with your cold calling and texting efforts, your marketing channels, a pretty common thing I'm assuming you experience is a lot of rejection. Is that right?
Mm. Yeah, I think it's very common.
Got it. How do you guys go about that? How do you feel about that? And the reason I ask is because a lot of beginners go into cold calling, go into text blasting, send ringless voicemails. And the most discouraging thing about it is that they're getting a lot of no's. They're getting a lot of, screw yous or all that stuff, or just negative intent or negative feedback. And it's really discouraging for a beginner who's trying to, get their foot off the ground and trying to actually find some success. So how would you, or what would you tell them? Tell the investors that are struggling, that are getting that negative feedback from the sellers, and what would you tell them?
I think those people that are having that issue need to get the results they want in their head first before they're going to see it on the outside. And I think they're letting their circumstance bring them more doubt. If you were laser focused on, hey, I'm going to get a contract, I need to get a contract yesterday or whatever it is, and you start going at it and you're plowing through cold calling and whatever it is and talking to people, making offers, the no's don't even matter because you're so focused on the yeses and getting to them that when someone says no, you just hang up the phone. You're like, all right, sounds good. See you. And you move right on to the next one. You're not focused on that. So if you are, it's because you're letting that give you more doubt and almost reaffirming, hey, you know what? Maybe this isn't for me. Maybe this is really hard. Maybe reject, and all of these things start coming. Just stop, just move, just like literally move your physiology. Like the more I move my body, the more certain I get. And so that's what I would say. Just like focus on the yeses and keep moving on. Now, you kind of have to like, how do you define rejection? If it's someone that says no to your offer, I mean, that's a completely different conversation. Maybe you didn't negotiate right. Maybe the timing wasn't
You're your
right, whatever,
numbers.
maybe. So yeah, the number, maybe you did the wrong numbers. So I
Yep.
think, follow up with those people. But if it's just someone that's giving you resistance up front, I would just screw it and move on. But, the offer is a little bit different. Um, yeah, if that answers your
Okay.
question.
Okay. Another thing that I want to talk about is the mindset of beginners. Okay. They're very focused on just getting that contract, getting that contract assigned. They focus less on actually helping the seller. Because at the end of the day, the seller's either going through the divorce, they're having to relocate for whatever reason, they're going through foreclosure. So this brings me on to my next question of what is your mindset like whenever you're getting on a call with a motivated seller, and how you're going to convert them with that mindset?
Yeah, I'm present, very, very present. I've learned that throughout sales. Whenever you have an agenda, whenever you go into a call, they're going to feel it. Like, have you ever talked to somebody and you just felt like it was just something was off? And then
Yeah,
next thing
of
you know, you're
course.
right. There's something sketchy about this guy. Like, what is it? They know. So you just got to go in with no expectations. Like, hey, it could be a deal. Maybe it's not a deal. I think it's important to go in every call treating it like it's a deal. So like, hey, this next deal, this could be my next deal, and this could change my life forever. So I want to treat every lead like that. But when I'm on the call, I'm asking questions, I'm present with them, I'm listening. And it's funny, the first contract I have, it's in Kirbyville, Texas. Been very difficult to sell. I actually had a JV with a well-known group in Texas that I love them. They're amazing. They actually backed out because this thing's not selling. Population's like 2,000 people. Had a buyer go yesterday, and the seller texted me and he said, "Hey, like, I know the buyer's coming out, and he wants me to wholesale the property. He knows what I'm doing. Like, the intentions were there, everything was up front. He's like, 'Are you gonna make money?' He's like, 'I really want you to make money because you're really helping me so much. You put in so much time and effort trying to market our property. Look, you're gonna make money though, right?' Like the whole time on the call, and we have the recording in high level. So
Perfect.
amazing guy. Hopefully, we get an offer from the buyer that came today. He just texted me and said he's gonna give me an offer tomorrow morning. So we'll see if that one sells. Follow up with
Perfect.
me after, but um, the other one I got sold in a day. But anyway, so that's the deal. I think just having the right intentions, just being present on the call and treating every lead like it's the next deal. Um, Yeah.
Yeah, because whenever I listen to other investors calls, whether they're clients or they're not, they're just focused on just getting straight at it. They just want to qualify, get the necessary details, which is important. They forget to build rapport, and then they wonder why the seller goes with another investor. So I really wanted to understand what your sales process looks like when it comes to actually speaking to the seller. And that brings me on
Mm.
to my next question, which is how do you set yourself apart from other investors that may be speaking to the seller?
I don't build rapport.
What do you mean by that? So how are you closing these deals?
I ask questions.
The right
I
questions, I'm assuming, or
at the right
what do
time,
you mean by
in the
that?
right tonality at the right time. And I'm not like a sales guru. I'm not the best salesperson in the world. I follow a guy named Jeremy Miner,
Oh,
and
of
I've learned
course.
a ton from him. Yeah, so he's the man. I don't build
NLP. That's what he calls it. Is
no
that right?
no NLP, NEPQ,
Oh, that's what it's
neuro
called.
emotional
Correct.
persuasion questions. Yeah, it's just, I mean, no rapport. So I just open it with a question and just go in from there. Like if there's a little bit of like shoot the shit, excuse my language talk, there's
Of
a little bit of
course.
that. But I'm not like, hey Ben, I saw you put in their request. By the way, you're in Houston, Texas. What's the weather like out there? Oh wait, how's your day going? They know, they don't care. If you had the AT&T cable guy come to your house to fix your router or your cable, do you want him sitting there talking to you for a half hour before he fixes your problem, or do you want him just to fix your problem and leave? That's the deal.
Gosh. Exactly.
And
So
when,
it just goes back to what you said of focusing on their problem and
yeah,
helping them, active listening.
exactly. So Ben, just saw that you put your request in for the property. I guess I should probably start by asking, like, what had made you reach out to us on Facebook initially? That's my opening question. And I say, I guess I should probably ask because it's a script, but I don't want it to sound scripted. So that's what makes it sound like that. And then I just ask, you know, I don't like asking, why do you want to sell your house? Because everyone's asking that. I ask it
Correct.
just in a different way. Like, well, you're saying you want to sell your property. Why is it important for you to sell it right now, though? And then I just listen. And
Gotcha. So
nine
you're
times out of
gauging
10,
motivation as
totally,
well. Okay.
totally. And most of the time, if you just listen and let them talk, they're going to tell you without you even asking. And then you can use what's called probing questions that Jeremy teaches to dive deeper on that problem. Well,
Do you
yeah, go ahead.
go ahead? Go ahead. Go
I
ahead.
was say, well, my tenants haven't paid. Well, what do you mean by your tenants haven't paid? Now I'm probing and digging on that. Well, this, and this. Well, has that had like an impact on you? How long has this been going on for? And those types of questions. So,
Okay. How many questions would you say you ask them on average? And do you happen to have a list of those that we can, just shoot out the audience right now?
I could probably make some. I'll be honest, I haven't dialed in the process yet. I just know from being in sales for a little while and being okay at it, kind of what works. So I could, I need to dial in my process anyway. So I could definitely do that.
Absolutely, absolutely. So you said you just going all the way back to your goals at the beginning. You said you wanted to scale to 80K a month. What exactly is your plan to get there?
You guys,
So you think you
that's
could
it.
one man show everything, just scale ad spend, just take on everyone?
I think, well, not take on everyone, but I think we can get to 80K a month with Facebook and PPC through you guys.
Okay.
I do think it's important to add. I don't rely on one of anything. I don't think it's good to rely on any marketing channel because what if your ad gets banned or your
Yeah.
account gets restricted, which we've had
Yep.
that happen. That's part of it. I think we'll be adding more verticals in, but
Absolutely.
for now, Facebook and eventually PPC.
Absolutely. Yeah. Cause you have some experience growing businesses in the insurance space. So it's great that you're able to leverage that experience and expertise into this new business. Um,
Yeah, and
so stay
everything
on
that
it.
I know, I've learned from somebody else, by the way.
Of
Like most
course,
of these
so you get a
ideas are
mentor.
not my ideas.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And when it comes to team, do you ever want to build a team for this investment business? And what would that look like?
Yeah, I definitely want to. I'm not exactly sure what that would look like right now. But I think, a salesperson potentially and marketing people, maybe some VAs, have them kind of spread out and then eventually bring everybody in one office. And like I said before, go all in into that one market and dominate that market. But definitely
Perfect.
want to build a team.
Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. Now, let's talk a little bit about your sales process. Let's talk a little bit more about that. You mentioned your follow-up process in the beginning. You call them up, just get straight to the point, learn a bit more about them, ask them a few qualifying questions, and then you just, that's the appointment, and then you just hang up and make your offer. What exactly does that process look like?
I've typically been calling back, running comps, and then doing an offer. If it's somebody that, sometimes I'll do my numbers before. I'll comp it before I call them. Um, I don't always love that because I think it's so easy to be in your head. Like when a lead comes in and it says they're asking 100 grand, and you look at Zillow and it says it's worth 110. Most people
Yeah,
go, "Oh, they're not motivated." Like, dude, you
yeah,
have no idea. This guy, so the first guy, the second contract we had, which we've already sold, we sold it in a day, here locally
beautiful.
in my Springfield, Missouri market, which is not a lot of people, but he um he put on the lead that he wanted 140. Zillow said it's worth 150. We got him down to 110, and then I renegotiated at 99.5. So you never know the motivation. So I think, you know, um, I think that's super important not to try to pre-qualify a lead in your head.
Got it. So just talking to them, just getting on the phone and actually speaking to
Make
the
the phone
seller because who
calls.
knows? Who knows? Maybe
I,
they had a bad day.
and don't think of yourself as a salesperson either.
What do you mean by that?
I think when you do that, you start unconsciously putting pressure. They can feel sales resistance. And the biggest thing I learned from Jeremy Miner is you want to put their guard down, not raise it. So anything that sounds salesy, I'm going to avoid saying, or any kind of feeling that is salesy, I'm going to avoid, that feeling at all, because then they're going to raise their guard. And I want them to feel like I'm not a salesperson. I'm like interested in buying their house. I'm here to help them. I'm an expert. And you get that status by the questions you ask and the things you don't say that most salespeople say, which is, "Hey, how's your day going? How are you?" If someone, like, I know that's a telemarketer every time they call me, it's, "Hey, how are you?" I'm like, "It's a telemarketer." So you gotta differentiate yourself.
It's just in vocabulary, tonality, you know, everything like that. Is that right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Perfect, perfect. Now let's move on. I want to talk about mindset now. How would you say you ever struggled with mindset throughout business in general?
Yeah, absolutely.
Perfect. So walk us through your process. What was, some of the negative experiences you went through and how did you combat that?
So many. Yeah, there's a lot, dude. I got about 5 years ago, I got evicted from my apartment, and I was actually in insurance at that time. And it's because I made, okay money. I had like a month where I made 10 grand and then eight, and I was like, dude, I'm the richest man in America.
Absolutely.
So
Yeah. It's a lot more fun when, in
yeah,
the beginning, everyone gets into the business for money. And then once you start making money, it's more about, for me at least,
yeah,
it's about making an impact now. So
absolutely. Definitely still about making money for me too, and making an impact. I think it's about both. But I got evicted, and I just stopped doing the things that got me to where I was, and it's as simple as that. And when your identity doesn't match your results, you will find a way to get back to whatever your identity is. And that's
okay.
been said by a lot of people, and that's super key. So I think being able to own whatever results you get as that's who you are is really beneficial.
Okay. On a daily basis, how would you say you keep yourself accountable to actually, because they're, actually call the leads? Because there's some days where you just wake up and you just don't want to speak to anyone. So how do you navigate around that?
Hmm. I think there's so many things I could say there where, like, so many tactics and strategies, like focus on your why and have a routine that you get into and do all these things. At the end of the day, you just got to, like, just do it. Like, that's it. And I love and hate that answer. The reason I love it is because it's true. But the reason I hate it is people go, "Oh, that's just too simple. There's got to be something else." It's literally just show up every day and do it. And it's not just who shows up every day, it's who shows up and then does the work. Because you can go to the gym every day but not lift weights. So
Exactly.
you got to show up and just make the phone calls, just do it.
Okay. Cool. Cool. So mindset. Is there anything else that you want to tell beginners that are just struggling? They've cold called for 6 months, have yet to get their first deal. They're working a 9 to 5. Is any objection under the sun as to why they can't see or touch
They're not
success?
working with Ben, obviously. I mean, if they were working
I
with you, they wouldn't be having these problems.
I
Well,
mean,
maybe
let's
they
say
would.
money's a problem. Money may be a problem. Let's say money's a problem. So they don't
Yeah.
have the finances to invest into inbound traffic yet. They have a 9 to 5. They got kids. They got everything. Everything's just coming down on them, but they're still
Yeah.
trying to make wholesaling work. What would you
Mm.
tell them?
If they're trying to make wholesaling work, it's not going to work.
What do you
I
say that?
think. I think it. I think you should ask yourself if you're at that point. Have I made a decision that this is what I'm going to do no matter what? Or am I testing the waters? Am I trying it out for a little while and then I have a backup plan? Like, yeah, I'll try it. We'll see what happens. Or are you like, no, this is what I'm doing. I don't care if it takes me 24 hours to get a contract, 3 weeks, 3 months, or 3 years. I'm doing this and I'm going to find a way. And when you make a decision like that, you're cutting off from anything else that stands in your way. When you make a committed decision, all the things that you need will show up in front of you. Just got to
Absolutely.
take action on them.
Absolutely. It's just being transparent with yourself, and just not letting your ego stand in the way from the truth. Because for me personally, I don't know about you, but ego has affected me a bit. I
Totally.
always thought I could do things myself, and my mentor would come and just verbally slap me in the face and say, "You can't do that. You're wrong."
Yeah, I'm
Um,
with you.
but yeah. So last thing is, what would you say to someone that is possibly scared of investing into ads, Facebook or PPC for their investing for their wholesaling business?
If they're afraid of spending money, they probably shouldn't have a business because that's, I mean, your business is fueled by marketing. So, um, once you make that decision, I don't think you'll be afraid. But if you still have like, there's always a fear. Like, dude, I get afraid when I see like invoices and stuff. I'm like, frick, like that's a lot of money. I paid Ben a lot of money, millions of dollars. No, but all those things and the fear creeps in. But if you
Not
just
yet.
commit, you follow through on those things, then it'll all play out in the end. And maybe you have some verticals that you try and you spend a lot of money on, and they don't make any money, and that's okay. You learn. Just I would just say, don't reinvent the wheel. Just do what all the successful people that have courses and coaching and all that stuff. Just do what they do and model them, and hopefully you can get what they've got. I will
Absolutely.
say, our return on ad spend with you,
About
Ben,
to ask
is
that.
6.17%, or times,
Perfect.
excuse me, multiple. So for every, 2 grand
Dollar.
I spend, yeah, every dollar I spend, I get six back.
Perfect. Perfect. So
Insane.
now you have a spreadsheet or something. Do you by
Yeah.
chance have a template that you'd be willing to share for the audience so they can create a copy of that?
I don't have
Um,
a template.
okay.
Um, I've just been tracking how many leads we have, what the cost per lead is, the CPA, cost per acquisition, what it costs to get a client, or a contract in this case,
Oh, yeah.
and then all those types of things, estimated profits. One thing I will say is lead to contract ratio. I was on a call recently and somebody said, yeah, we have a 50% conversion from these leads. I was like, what? That's
Ah,
insane. He goes, yeah, but only the ones that are motivated, like the ones that say like they don't want to sell right now or they're kind of just blowing smoke. We don't count them. And I was like, dude,
that's why.
what? Um, it's not just about, I think tracking all the numbers is important, but I think knowing what your contract to lead conversion is of the total leads I have, and we've gotten some leads from wholesalers trying to sell their deals from everybody, right? From all the people in the real estate space. Um, tracking those numbers, how many of those people closed is a very important key metric, at least in my opinion. Um, versus like, hey, I'm being nitpicky on the offers I'm making. I'm not going to make an offer to that guy because it will count towards my conversion. Here's my offer to contract ratio. Like that's important too. But the total leads, I want to know how many contracts came out of the total leads.
Got it. Got it. Yeah. And would you say it's an ego thing as well? because it feels good to say, hey, I have a 50% lead to contract ratio. So do you think ego has something to, factor in when it comes to that?
Absolutely. Oh, totally. Yeah, just
Cool.
inflating your numbers. Oh my gosh, yeah, I can't stand that for sure. It
Gotcha,
is what it
gotcha.
is.
So to wrap things up, do you have any last words for someone that may be on the fence of working with us or anything, or even leveraging inbound traffic with another agency or another person? Because we get a lot of our clients from coaching programs, Sub to Astro, TTP, all those. Um, and they have worked with other agencies in the past that have just screwed them over.
Yeah.
So fortunately, you haven't gone through that. So what would you say to someone that has gone through that?
I would say that if a person is looking to, spend a couple thousand on marketing or whatever it is and get a contract in the next 4 hours with something like what you're doing, which is Facebook and PPC, I wouldn't sign up. Not for you. If you're a person that values, that Facebook is a great marketing channel, or PPC, or whatever it is that you may be looking at doing. If you know that's a great marketing channel and you're willing to let it run for 3 months, I would say, Ben might be a great fit for you. He might be able to help you if you're willing to spend the money and the time. Now, most of his clients, obviously, which he's talked about before, they got a contract in 2 weeks. For me, I got it in five, I got 2 and 5, or whatever. People are crushing it. It doesn't happen for everyone, and that's not just some BS sales thing. It's just reality is it doesn't. Everyone's different. Every market's different. Everything's different. So, I would say if you're looking to dial in a marketing source and have someone follow up with all your leads, leverage them to do all the marketing for you, and really create a system, I would probably call Ben.
Perfect, man. And the last thing I want to ask is if an investor is watching this and wants to reach out to you to possibly learn, get some advice, get some tips, or even JV with you to help you display their deals, assuming they ran their numbers correctly, what's the best place to reach you out at?
Yeah, just Facebook, Julian Chambers, or Instagram, it's Julian Chambers official. So
Perfect, perfect. Do you have a website or anything that, or for Dispo that they can, um,
not at the moment. Nope.
oh, we can
We'll
work on that
we'll work on
after.
that. Yeah, we'll get that up.
Okay, perfect. But Julian, it was great having you, man. I appreciate you being the first
Thank you so
guest we
much.
have for our interviews. But yeah, man, that's it. Thank you everyone and have a good rest of your day. Bye-bye.